Hello, long time no see. So I had a bit of time. I'm off to an appointment and I thought I would do a video and do a bit of catch up with you guys. So it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a vlog, and I kind of got fed up with like the editing of it and all that crap. So there may not be any editing in this. I might just fucking upload it as is, you know. But we'll see. Anyway, so what's been going on? Well, I am now grandma to 3. If you don't follow me on social media, you really should. It's the same name all over social media. Pretty tap her everywhere. And I'm grandma to 3 boys. My youngest grandson was born in October. His name's Elijah. He's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. They just make my life a gazillion % better. Being a grandma is the funnest thing in the whole fucking world. It really is. I love it. So that's really about it on the sort of family side of things. Let's see. I'm just ordering I should have really ordered my thoughts before starting the video, but you know me. So my mum lives with me, and someone's killed a young plant tree. Oh, do you know, I heard someone out here shouting last night. Now I know why. Look at that. Look. Fuck's sake. Yeah, mum lives with me. She's been living with me for about 3.5, 4 years, I think. She's doing well. She's doing okay. She's got ill over Christmas last year, and she was really quite poorly. And she stopped being mobile. She couldn't even get to the bathroom. She had to have a commode and all that lot. It was really bad. And I called the doctor out. In the end they gave her antibiotics. But they're all like, oh yeah, we'll have to do a blood test. And it'll take 3-4 days to get the results. And I'm like, bitch, she can't breathe, But she ended up going through 2 courses of antibiotics, and they got her well enough that she was able to get better. Her body was able to fight it and get better on its own. Then they were like, oh, we think you've got fluid around your chest cavity, we want to do a scan of your heart. Well, my mum hadn't left the house in like 2 years, so she was like, no. And this doctor, who's a young paramedic-y type, they have the paramedics working in surgeries nowadays, and he sort of like looked at her and he was like, what? And she said, if my heart is giving out, I don't want to know about it. She said, I don't want to put that on my daughter. She said, I don't want to know if I'm fucking dying. She said, I just, And he was like, oh, okay. And she said, I've got COPD, I've got a chronic lung condition. Now, unless you can give me a pill to make that go away, then, So he was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. And they also got her to do this like DNR for if she ever goes into hospital. Because they sort of said to her, well, what are your opinions on that? So she's got a DNR in place and all that. Which is up to her, that's fine. That's her choice. And then they were like, we think you're carrying a lot of fluid, which she has always had trouble with. Always had trouble. So they got her on these fluid retention pills that did absolutely fuck all, really. And then my GP spoke to her. And he's retiring, you guys. How rude. I'm gutted. He's been my GP since Callie was born. But anyway, then I spoke to my GP. He phoned up to do a sort of follow-up appointment. And he went, well, they're obviously not doing it, are they? So let's put her on something else. So he put her on new tablets and then recently upped the dose. And this morning I caught her walking about, which is really, really good. After she got better, she was able to get up and get back to the toilet. She didn't really stop doing anything. Now, a year ago, she would get up and walk around upstairs. So that she was getting some steps in and she was moving. keeping everything moving. And she started walking again, which is brilliant. She said, I'm not even doing 300 steps. And I was like, do you know what? That's 300 steps more than you were doing a month ago. So, yeah, I'm fucking chuffed to bits. Awesome stuff. Let's see. Me. About a month or so ago, I started experiencing pain, probably more than that now actually, in my right elbow. It got really, really, really bad. And I just thought I've maybe overdone the knitting, So I rested it and found no, I could literally do like a couple of rounds on my socks and that was it. And then I started getting trouble in my hips and I was like, this isn't good. And I got up one afternoon and I couldn't put any weight on my right foot. And I was standing in the middle of the room laughing and Daryl was like, what's the matter? I said, I can't like you do when you're like, holy fuck, panicking. Yeah, I was there going, I can't put any weight on my right foot. And that lasted about 5 minutes or so. And I said I must have been sat slightly funny. And left it at that, really. And then it happened again a bit later on that day. And I was like, that's not fucking right. That's not normal. So I phoned the doctors and said to the doctor about it. And he said, I want you to go for an x-ray. Well, that was a song and a fucking dance, I can tell you. So that was on the Wednesday. Friday, I strolls into x-ray. Basically, the doctor says, I will refer you. He sends the referral through and you go to x-ray and say, doctor sent me. They pull it up and they go, oh yes, there it is. Off you go. So I walks into x-ray Friday morning. Hello, I've come for an x-ray. Oh, you're not on our system? I was like, I've got a text message from my GP saying to come in, or from a GP. So she was like, well, she said this happens all the time. I was like, fuck's sake. So she phoned the surgery and said, patient's been sent for an x-ray. And they were like, oh yeah, it's here on the system. And they went, well, it's not on our system. And then they turned around and said that the doctor had to action it. Even though it's the doctor that sent me for the x-ray, it then had to be actioned by the doctor so that it appeared on the x-ray department screen. So she was like, so could you do that then? Because the patient is standing right in front of me. And they were like, well, she could always go home and come back. I'd already waited 48 hours. And x-ray were like, no, why would she do that? She's come from Lake into Newport, like 9 miles away. She's coming especially for this fucking x-ray. So they were like, well, we'll send it through and get him to do it. Not we will go knock on his door. Basically, they emailed him to tell him he hadn't actioned it. He had back-to-back patients, so he's not checking his emails in between. He's writing his notes up, he's calling the next patient. So I sat there, and I sat there, and I fucking sat there. And this lady on the x-ray, she was getting really upset because I think she was expecting me to blow up at her. And I was just like, it's not your fault. And she said, but this happens all the time. She said, it's not just your surgery. She said, it's all of them. They all do it. And I was like, well, can't be helped. Don't worry about it. And she phoned through again. And they were like, well, we've sent it through. And that was basically as far as they were willing to go. They weren't willing to go and knock on his door and say, this patient's in x-ray and you haven't sent it. You need to send it. They just left me hanging, basically. So x-ray woman comes back out and she said, maybe if you phone them, they might, do something. So I said, okay then. So I phoned the surgery. This was 11:30, I think. I'd been there over an hour by this point. So I was like, okay. So I phoned up. Well, it's all changed now. The surgery here now, I don't know if it's the same all over the UK, now has this rapid health system in check. Basically, if you want an appointment, you go online, you fill out about 4 pages of symptoms, tick boxes. Do you have this? Do you have numbness? Are you bleeding? Are you missing a limb? That kind of thing. So, and then if you are deemed worthy of an appointment, they send you a link and you book an appointment that way. So, well, I didn't need that. So, I listened to the other choices. Basically, what it came down to is general inquiries, which is what I was, and test results. Basically, if you want to speak to somebody, you can't until after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm like, I couldn't get through to talk to anybody. So, for fuck's sake. So I went to the X-ray room and I went, I can't get hold of anybody. I can't get through. And she went, oh, for God's sake. So she said, okay, well, it's up to you. So I said, well, I'll wait a little bit longer. And I said, and I wait. After about 10 minutes, she came out. She said, look, I didn't tell you this, but if you want my advice, go to urgent treatment because they can refer you for an X-ray. So I was like, oh, okay, good idea, So it's the other end of the hospital from the X-ray, from walk-in X-rays, right? So for fuck's sake. So, and I was like in so much pain at the time. So I walked, the length of the hospital, goes into urgent treatment. Now by this point I'm tired. I'm in a fuck ton of pain from sitting on hospital chairs. I really hope you can hear me over the wind. Sitting on a fuck ton of hospital chairs that, must have been designed by somebody who's never felt an ounce of pain in their life. And told them what the story was while trying not to cry and trying not to die. So the receptionist was very sympathetic, said, yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Take a seat. So I said, okay. 20 minutes later, I'm called into triage. Triage nurse takes one look at me, says, sit down. I'll be back in a minute. Comes back, gives me 2 cocodamol. Now, even though I've been on painkillers for at least half of my life, on and off, I don't actually react that well to them. I tend to get quite stoned. It's down on my form as adverse reaction to gabapentin, pregabalin and all that lot. Even cocodamol gets me high if I'm like, because I hadn't eaten. So she gives me these 2 cocodamol, takes down what's going on, says, the doctor's going to see you. So I was like, okay, fine. So she said, you need to go and take a seat and he'll call you in a bit. I was like, okay. I goes back out because I dozed off for about 10 minutes. That helped, actually. So I phoned my daughter. No, I phoned my son because my son had gone with me into Newport. And I sent him a message and I was like, I'm stoned as fuck. He was like, you're going to be right to drive? Well, thankfully there's a Costa in the hospital. So I was like, I'll go and eat and get some sugar in me before I come home. So then I goes back in, sits down. Sitting there for a good 10 minutes or so. And the doctor calls me. He's extremely tall. Very, very nice looking. Very charming. Black bloke. I'm sorry if that's not PC. I don't know what is the correct PC term to use at the moment. He was a black gentleman. He was lovely. And he called my name and I got up. Of course, I starts hobbling towards him. And he's like, come on, chop, chop. Hurry up. And I'm like, funny, don't you? So, because at this point I'm like stoned off my tits, highly pissed off and in a lot of pain. He's like, yeah, come on. He's like, come on, you can jog and all this stuff. So he gets in. Of course, part of it is they need to see how well you're moving. That's what that was all about. He gets in, sits me down. And for the next 15 minutes, I have never felt so seen in all of my life in front of a medical professional. He asked me questions about my history. He asked me what the pain was like. He got me to stand up. He literally touched me twice. That was it. Diagnosed me. Says he thinks I've got piriformis syndrome. And then said, I'm going to give you morphine and diazepam. I said, you can't give me that. You've just given me cocodamol. I'll fucking die. Thinking he meant to give it to me there and then. He was like, no, for you to take home. I was like, oh, okay. I was so stoned, you guys. So I was like, oh, okay. He's like, you can get them from your local pharmacy. I'll send them through there. You don't need to go to the hospital. I was like, okay, cool. So then I goes down to Costa and I has my cheese and beans toasty and a cake and a hot chocolate because I don't drink coffee. And I phoned my daughter and I said to her, this is what's happened. For fuck's sake, and I told her how long I've been there. So I was like, so do you think I should go for that X-ray? Because I'd also had a text message from the GP saying, really sorry, it hasn't been sent. It has now been sent through. You can go. So she was like, well, you're there, you might as well. I said, yeah. What the fuck, eh? I've been here 4.5 hours, I might as well. So I goes, walks the length of the hospital, back to X-ray. I had to go back anyway because my car was parked there. Walks in and says, hi. And she was like, oh, is it on the system? I said, well, apparently. I said, if it's not, I'm going home. So she said, okay, fair enough. And she said, you know what? She checked and she went, you are on the system. I said, brilliant. So she said, follow me. So she leads me through to where you get changed into the scrubs. She asked me what happened down on urgent treatment. Absolute angel. Can't fault her enough, that woman at X-ray. So I said, okay, thank you. So I sat in the little X-ray waiting room, which is different from the main waiting room. That waiting room filled and emptied twice. And the checks kept coming out, sort of looking sideways at me. And then one of them came out and she went, what name? She said, you've been out here a while. I was like, yes, 20 minutes. And she was like, I don't think you've been logged in properly because you're not on our screen. What name is it? So I told her. She goes off. She comes back. I hadn't been logged in properly in the X-ray reception. So I'd wasted another 25 minutes sitting there waiting for an X-ray, which the techs were not going to call me to because they didn't know I was there. 5.5 hours I was at that fucking hospital, all for an X-ray technically. So I didn't take the morphine. I've heard a lot of nasty stuff about Oromorph, and I was very frightened of it. My dad was on Oromorph when he was dying, and my dad was addicted to speed at one point, long time ago. And I have an addictive personality, so I was very scared to take it. I took a couple of the diazepam here and there, but other than that, I didn't really touch it. Then I'd been told by this doctor at urgent treatment to see a doctor about various different things, one being the pain that I'm in, because I'm hypermobile as well. That's important. So I phones up, goes through this fucking rapid health thing. I walked up to the surgery and they were like, no, you have to do it all on the rapid health. And I was like, but it's a follow-up appointment. Shit, I'm going to be late. And she was like, no, you have to do it on rapid health. I was like, but it's not a new problem. Now, rapid health is absolutely great if it's a new problem. If it's an ongoing thing and you need a follow-up appointment, it's useless. Absolutely useless. So I phones up, goes through the rapid health, gets the appointment, goes back 2 days later, sits down, gets called, goes in, sits down. The bloke says to me, really nice bloke, another paramedic type bloke, I don't know if it's the same one as mum. But I sat down and he says, I've just been looking through your history. And I went, yeah. Shit, I could have called my bus. And he said, I don't think I'm the right person to help you. And I said, well, if you're a receptionist who'd let me get a word in edgeways, I could have told you that. So he says, okay. So we sit and we chat and he's going through all of my symptoms and shit with me. And he's like, yeah, he said, I'm definitely not the right person to help you, but I can refer you to a couple of different. Okay. So he ends up referring me to MSK, which stands for musculoskeletal something or other. And we also had a chat about the Oromorph, and he said, if you don't want to take, because it's like, he'd put me down to take it 4 times a day and diazepam every 4 hours. He said, keep it for on the days when you're really, really, really bad. So I was like, okay, fine. So I went in to see the MSK lady last week. Callie came with me. Callie's been told there's a chance she's got arthritis, but she's got to wait for the baby to reach a certain age before she can have blood tests due to hormones, and that she's hypermobile. So we were like, okay, fine. So I goes in and this woman sort of looks sideways at Callie and she said, I know you. And Callie said, yeah. And then the woman clicked and she went, oh, you're here to support your mum. Oh, hang on, doggies. Hi. Hi, are you sweet? Hi. Are you friendly? Oh, hello. Hello. Hi.
Hello, Daisy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. You're gorgeous.
she will demand fuss tax of anyone who passes. So yes.
So you'd go home with anybody, is what we're saying, yeah?
Yes.
Oh,
exactly.
you're a cutie pie. Yes, you are. I'm late. So she was like, "All right, okay, lovely woman, African, really nice accent. I just love African accents, they're great." So she's chatting away to me, and she's like, "Right, okay," and she got me to get up on the bench, and she, manipulated my legs a little bit, and push here, shove there, pull here, all that kind of thing. And then she's like, "Okay, I want you to have a blood test." I said, "I actually have a blood test booked next week." So she's like, "Oh, cool." And she said, "What about physio?" I said, "I actually have that next week. That's where I'm going now." So she was like, "Right ho." And she said, "Well, the pain in my hips is bursitis, and it's what's in my hips and my elbows." So I'm like, "Oh, lovely." And she said, "But the trouble is, due to my hypermobility, exercise that might help the bursitis will aggravate the hypermobility." So I'm like, "Right." And she said, "Have you ever been tested for Ehlers-Danlos?" I said, "Well, I was told I had Ehlers-Danlos years ago by my retiring GP." So she was like, "Oh, right, okay." And she said, "I'd like to test you." So I said, "Yeah, go for it." So she tested me. And then I sat down after. So she was like, I said, "What?" And she said, "I've never met anybody." Now, bearing in mind, this is a musculoskeletal consultant. So I've never met anybody with a 9/9 on the Beighton scale. If you want to go and look that up, that's BEIGHTON. And it's a test they do for Ehlers-Danlos. And 9 out of 9 is just basically to do with how fucking flexible you are. Now, this is an issue I've always had when I'm discussing my physical problems, because I'm so flexible and I can bend down and I can touch my toes and I can bend my thumb all the way back and all that kind of shit. I'm not believed that I'm in so much pain. And I said to her, "I'm in pain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week." And she said, "Yeah, and you always will be. That's never going to go away." And I just sort of looked at her and I was like, "Okay." And she said, "All we can do is treat the pain. She said, we can't cure you because it's hypermobility. We can't do anything for that." Okay. So she was like, "I see that the paramedic chap that I saw offered for you to go to the pain management clinic and you turned it down." She said, "Do you mind if I ask why?" I said, "Yeah, because I did the first one." And she sort of looked at me and she said, "What?" I said, "When they first did it here on the Isle of Wight," I said, "I was in the very, very first group." And she was like, "You've had it that long?" I said, "I've been in pain for 34 years, darling, since I started having babies." And she was gobsmacked. She was like, "Right, okay." And I said, "You name it, I can guarantee you I've tried it." So she did. Acupuncture, yep. Acupressure, yep. Physiotherapy, I've had my back taped. I've done hydrotherapy. I said I even went to one of those Chinese places and had hot cupping done. I've had massages. I've been to a chiropractor. And she was like, "You really have tried it all then?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I even asked for surgery at one point." And she said, "And what were you told?" I said, "My GP, the retiring one, said that they could do it, but he couldn't guarantee that I would feel any benefit, and then it might actually make me worse." And she was like, "It would have made you worse because this isn't something that we can cure with an operation." And he'd also told me that I would have been bedridden for about 6 months with 4 young children. That was not an option. So she was like, "He told you the truth. There isn't, there's nothing we can do." So I was like, "Okay." So she gave me a couple of exercises to do, but they're for me to do at my discretion. And I came away from that and I've been sat and I've been thinking about it. Now, I've been classed as disabled for 20 odd years. Yeah, 20 odd years. Because of the level of pain I'm in, and because a lot of days I just can't do shit, Yes, I'm walking now, but this will be all I do today. I may have to catch the bus home. And I remember when I was in my 20s crying on my mum's shoulder. I'm going to be in a wheelchair by the time I'm 40. And her saying, well, you don't know that. And you might not be. Well, I'm 50 in a couple of weeks and I'm not in a wheelchair yet. I do use a walking aid a lot of the time. And I've got a feeling that that's going to start becoming more of the time now as I'm getting older. My weight doesn't help. You know, I'm a plus size girly. But to be told by somebody, I don't want to give you steroid injections because you're really going to need them later on in life. You know, it's kind of driven it home to me. You'd think it would have done after 34 years, but no, it actually took a professional. Wow, that must be abandoned, that place. Yeah, you think 34 years of living with chronic pain, but no, it took a professional to turn around and say to me, this isn't going to go away. And in fact, it's probably going to get worse. It's a very hard thing to wrap your head around, you know. And I know people look at me and they don't see a disability, and you guys are probably there going, well, you've been walking for however 26 minutes, you're not disabled. Yeah, okay, I have. For the rest of the week I'll barely be able to fucking move, okay? Because I've used all my spoons to get here today. Because it's a nice day. And I want the physiotherapist to see me when I'm bad, not when I've driven for 2 minutes. And I need to save my spoons, because next week we're going to Harry Potter Studios. That's a whole different video. So I'm kind of trying to wrap my head around that at the minute. And it's difficult, it's hard, you know. And I know people are going to be like, well, you're not disabled because you can do stuff. Yes, I can do stuff. So can my mate who was born with one arm. She's fucking disabled. Classed as disabled. Disability comes in loads of different forms, but again, that's a whole different video. But I think it's the knowledge that I'm probably going to get worse, you know. So my plan from here on is to see what physiotherapists can recommend, which is probably not a lot. My daughter joined the gym, and I'm thinking about doing the same thing. And our gym, the health centre, has got everything. It's got a spa and a sauna and swimming pool. There's the tone zone, as it's called. Spin classes, if you're into that kind of thing. And Pilates. And Pilates is one of the things that the MSK lady recommended. So I'm thinking I might get a membership and go along and see if it's something I can do. We'll just have to see how much time. Bang on 10:30 and I'm 2 seconds away. Yay. If I had to stroke that doggy, I'd have probably got her a lot quicker. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I am going to go and have my first physiotherapy appointment in about 30 years. And I'll let you know what they say. Wish me luck. So, I was in there just over half an hour. Very nice young bloke. Give me one of these. I have to basically do a reverse thigh master. Wrap them around my knees and open my legs. I've also been told to sleep with the pillow between my knees so that my hips are more square. And a couple other, he sent it all to me. A couple of other little things I've got to do. I'll go back in a month. He said on days when I can't avoid being on my feet and I'm walking a lot, it's okay to use a walking aid, but not to come to rely on it too much. So yeah, at least he gave me some suggestions. He definitely thinks it's bursitis, or GDTS, I think they call it now. He said that's just the new name for Messiah. So I was like, okay. But he's not 100% convinced. So this is why he's given me these exercises. And he said, I want you to try them. He said, if they help, then we know we're on the right track. If they don't, then we need to relook. Now, I've got a blood test tomorrow as well to check for inflammation factors to see whether my psoriasis is linked to psoriatic arthritis or not. Or just general arthritis, whatever. But that will also give us a bit more insight, I suppose. I'm fucking starving. Absolutely starving. It's 11:20. It's hot. And I came out in shoes rather than sandals because I didn't think it was this hot. And now I'm regretting my life choices. Everything hurts a lot now. I wish I'd brought painkillers and a drink with me. And the fucking shop closed down last year, which I'm really pissed off about, so I can't even go in there and get a drink. So what else have I got to tell you guys now that I've caught you up on my medical sitch? I quit drinking. So those of you that used to come on my lives quite a lot will know that my lives were always accompanied with a bottle of vodka. Well, no more. I have been sober for 6 months. I've also managed to get off Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper and all the lovely dark fizzy drinks that contain caffeine. I'm about 4.5 months free of that now as well. So yeah, I'm doing really, really well. I just got to lose weight. If I could just lose some weight, that would be grand. But yeah, I posted online the other day it's been 17 years since I quit smoking. X amount of months since I quit alcohol, and X amount of months since I quit caffeine. And my mate Sue put, fucking hell, what else is left? And I said, I don't know, but at least I'm a cheap date. So yeah. What else? Let's see. This is going to be a video where I show you fuck all except me walking along gabbling at you. So, you know. Excuse me. Oh God. What else? Oh, I'm going to Harry Potter Studios next week. It's my birthday in a couple of weeks. Let's see, where are we? We are on the 28th of May. It is in about 3 weeks. Yeah, it's on the 20th of June. And Callie, for her 30th, which was this year, wanted to go this year. I'll get it right in a minute. Wanted to go to Harry Potter Studios. But A, her birthday's in February. It's cold. B, we didn't have the money. And C, she had a 3-month-old. And it was like, I don't want to go to Harry Potter Studios with a 3-month-old baby. Breastfed baby on that. So it was like we couldn't even help take the load off because, you know, baby wants her for everything. So we said, let's wait a little bit. Maybe we could do it next year for your birthday. Baby would then be just over a year old, you know, and he's a Velcro baby, so he doesn't like in a pushchair. He wants to be held all the time. So she sort of hummed and hawed, and then she said, well, you're 50 this year, Mum. Why don't we go for your birthday? So I was like, oh, well, we could do. Because I know there ain't going to be no fucking party or anything, you know, nobody's going to make any effort for it. So I said, well, yeah, we could do. Make it a bit more memorable. It's also Matthew's birthday on the 12th. That's my second son's. So he'll be 32 this year, I think it is. So kind of ties in quite nice. I mean, Callie probably feels like it's not for her birthday at all, but she's just excited to go, I think. The grandkids are beyond excited. Nathaniel asks several times each day, are we going to Harry Potter tomorrow? Daryl just wants a wand, you know. So we kind of sat and thought about it, and we looked into hiring a van. And we sort of worked out the cost, and we were like, you know what, we could do it for my birthday. So we booked it. And then we were talking about like how we were going to get there, and we decided that we would book a minibus type thing, because I'm licensed to drive one. That's fine. I'm older licensed, so I'm basically licensed to drive just about anything except double-decker buses and HGVs. And we said, you know what, we'll hire it and we'll split the cost. We'll split the cost for everything equally among us. There's like 6 adults going, so we were like, we'll split the cost. Worked out really cheap, actually, in the end. So yeah, that's awesome. Then I started to think this hiring the van thing. Now, Callie can't drive. Rob doesn't drive because medication he's on for his back. Nobody else in the family except for Xander drives. Xander's not coming. He's the only one that's not coming. Okay? Nobody else drives except for me. So Callie and Rob and that are quite limited on where they can go with the children. And I can't take them out because my car's not big enough. So I started looking into buying a van. And I sort of spoke to Callie about it. I said, what do you think? And she was like, if you buy one, we will contribute towards the running costs of it when you take us out. Like, you know, she said, we'll help pay for MOTs. I'll give you money for petrol or diesel in this case when we go out. So I was like, okay. So I went onto Facebook Marketplace, because that's where everything buys and sells nowadays, isn't it? Unless it's Temu. And found a van that had been listed 6 days beforehand and was in Ventnor. Now, for those of you that don't know, I live on the Isle of Wight. Ventnor's on the Isle of Wight. So I was like, oh, fuck. So I said to Kelly, what do you think? So it's very basic. It's a 2012. So we went and had a look, and I was actually like, holy shit, it is basic. It doesn't even have electric windows. It doesn't have carpet. It has rubber flooring, which is actually better when you're hulking around a whole load of kids, I can tell you. But yeah, the electric windows thing kind of like put me off. I haven't had a car without electric windows for a long time. But, you know, we went for it. He wanted 3,800. So I said, can I take it for a drive? He said, yeah. And I took it for a drive, and I ended up offering him, I offered him about 3.5 grand. We came to an agreement anyway, and I took it home. The insurance was actually not that bad on it, probably because I've got a nice clean license and have had for a long time. And I haven't had any issues with it. I've even been to Wales in it. I went to Wales and back in the day in it to pick up one of the kids that moved there temporarily and then decided they didn't like it and wanted to come home again. So I thought, well, that'd be a good test for it, to drive to Wales. Which I did. I drove to Wales, picked him up, all his kit, brought him home again, and it worked fine. I did discover on the journey up there, it has a speed restrictor on it, so it does not go over 68 miles an hour unless it thinks you're overtaking, and then it gives you a little burst of power. But yeah, 68 miles an hour, that's frustrating when you have a lead foot like I do. But, you know, I was like, okay, that's fine, I can cope being 68 miles an hour. And that'll be safer when I've got a van full of small grandchildren. So we bought it, and the first weekend comes around, the grandchildren turned up at my house absolutely over the moon excited. Nanny, we're going out in your van. Oh right, okay. So we went, I think that first day we just went out for a drive. Well, they thought it was fucking brilliant. They really did. They turned up the next week. Nanny, we want to go out in your van again. Victor still calls it my new van. I've had it for about 4 months now. I probably haven't, but it feels like it. And we went to Donkey Sanctuary, we went to Tapnell. These are all places on the island. And yeah, we've just been out in it a few times. We've had a really good time. Yesterday I filled it up with rubbish from my garden and went to the dump with it. It's multi-purpose. I have kept my car because sometimes when I go out on my own, I don't need a fucking great 9-seater van. And it is big. She's big. She's all right to drive. She is very basic. She's not pretty inside, you know. The skirt around the gear sticks come loose so you can see down inside to the mechanism. Like I say, she's got no carpet. So she's got like basically fixed down rubber matting. I had to replace the windscreen wipers yesterday because yesterday was the first day it rained, and I discovered one of the windscreen wipers was too long. So I went to Halfords and to supply and fit really nice flat silicone wipers. They charged me about 35 quid total for the 2 wipers, including fitting. So that was all right. I was expecting about 70 quid to be honest, but yeah, that was okay. And that's made a heck of a difference. I am slightly concerned that like come MOT time it's going to fucking fail on about 6,000 things, and that I would have probably wasted £3.5 grand. But you have that with any car that you don't buy from a garage, don't you? Like, you know, what were they hiding? So yeah, the MOT's due Christmas, so we'll find out, I guess. But Mum was like, well, maybe you should get it checked out before you go to Harry Potter World. And I was like, well, first off, I'm going in a week. I don't really have time. I said, and second off, if they deem it fucking... Because Callie said, put it for an MOT. I said, but if it fails, then we can't use the car. It'll get flagged. So it's got a valid MOT. It's got valid insurance. If we break down, I've got recovery. Yeah. So, yeah. I trust it. I don't trust it 1,000%. Not like I do my car. But, which is ironic really, because I did have issues with my car not that long ago. The brake calipers got stuck in the on position and it used to make this really high-pitched whining noise if we went over a certain speed. That was quite scary actually, because I thought the car was going to blow up. That cost me a pretty penny or two. But I'm content driving it, except it does make my hips ache. That's nice. I do keep looking at people's vans now going, that's nice. So yeah, I mean, I'm content driving it. If it turns out it was a dud, I will tally up how often it got used, especially when you take into account that my grandchildren are starting school and that now. My oldest one starts school in September, and then like a year or two after that the second one goes up, and then the baby, you know. So will I be using it as much? Well, probably not day to day, but you know, holiday time I probably would. Would it be cheaper to replace it with a sort of reasonably newish one and run said van, as in insure it, MOT it, tax it and fill it up with fuel, or to just every now and then go and hire one for what we need, you know, which will include day trips out and all that lot. Because when I asked at a car hire place, they said it'd be about £130 to hire one for a 24-hour period, which isn't too bad when you take into account that also includes your insurance, includes everything but the fuel, you know. I mean, £130, that's what I pay in tax, so, you know, or thereabouts, I don't know. Yeah. But that only gives me 24-hour use, so, you know, I'm going to try and tally up in a year like how often we've used the van, I think, and go from there and see whether it would have been cheaper to just hire one. But then I also have to take into account, like for instance yesterday I took stuff to the dump in it, and I put a metal watering can in to go to the dump. By dump I mean the civic amenity site where you take rubbish to be recycled or disposed of. I don't know if that's what you call it in the States. We call it the tip or the dump. And as Callie picked up the metal watering can, the bottom fell out of it and it was just rust. It literally just fell into powdered rust in the bottom of my van. Well, that's a good thing it's not carpeted for a start, but it also means that I'm not going to have to pay to have that cleaned. I'm going to clean it out to the best of my ability and fucking leave it, you know. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna see, but I think on the whole I'd prefer to own one. And if I get a newer one, it might not feel quite so lumbery. I don't know. I mean, I like it, don't get me wrong, but it's old and it is well used and it feels it. So, we'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Harry Potter. All of us that are going, there's myself, Kyle, Matt, Callie, Rob, Adam, Daryl, and Callie's 3 children. Matt's going to catch a train up because Matt was originally going to be coming from Wales, but he's now moved back, so he's going to have to catch the train up. Sorry, I have to keep changing hands because it hurts my back. And there's just not room in the van because we've already filled up with everybody else. So, yeah. None of us have been to Harry Potter. Only one out of the whole family that's been to Harry Potter Studios is Sander. He went several years ago with a girlfriend. And we're all really excited. Daryl wants a wand. The kids are just looking forward to it, I think. I don't know whether it's like Harry Potter or whether it's like a whole day out in Nanny's van, you know. Yeah, the adults, we're all excited. Well, I know Callie is and I am. Not so sure about all the guys, you know what they're like. Stoic. But yeah, it should be a good day, I think. I am looking forward to it. Oh, it's gotten hot now. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there really. It's not catch up into my life as it is at the moment. I want to try and get back into YouTubing. I recorded so many videos and I've said that and then I've not actually uploaded them. But I'm going to literally paste these 2 videos together, the video of me walking there, the video of me walking home. I'm not home yet, but you know, because I'm a lot fucking slower going home. Yeah, I'm just going to paste them together and upload it. There probably won't be any prettifying on it. So, yeah. I want to try and get back into vlogging. But to be honest, I don't do much. It's interesting. I have bought an overhead camera holder thing for my phone. So I'm hoping, because I don't have my office set up anymore. But there's reasons for that, which I'll discuss in another video. So I've bought a thing that supposedly will hold my phone. And I might get back into digital budget, boojoing digitally. But to be honest, it's not that interesting because it's all pre-drawn. So I'm not drawing anything. I just fill it out every day. And to be honest, it's editing and uploading it and making it pretty takes more time than filming the fucking thing does. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know whether I'll get back into that. Maybe I'll incorporate it into a vlog. I don't know. We'll have to see. Oh, I'm going to go home, have something to eat, take my shoes off because my feet are so hot, and have something to eat because I'm fucking starving. Absolutely starving. I expect Daryl's back now. And look at these exercises I've got to do. But I now need one of those between the knee cushion thingies. I think Callie might have one. I have to ask her. And he said, you can use a regular pillow. And I'm like, yeah. But every time I roll over, and I do that a lot because like rotisserie chicken when I'm in bed, I'm going to have to fidget and fart around with it. If it's something I can just attach to one of my knees, that would be awesome. So, and I won't lose it in the middle of the night. So, yeah. I love this time of year. It's sunny. It's not too hot yet. There's a nice breeze. Keep it cool. Anyway, right, I'm going to go. I will see you when I see you. I hope I upload this. Otherwise, like, I've made my arms ache for absolutely nothing. Because it does. It makes your arms ache walking along, holding your phone out like that. But, yeah. I hope you're all okay. If you missed me, say so. Say so down in the comments. Say hi. Drop me some love hearts or something. Some kisses. Daryl doesn't do kisses online anymore. Galena asked me that the other week. She was like, does he still do kisses? I was like, no. So, but I do. Give me a kiss. So yeah, every comment and kiss gets a like, a love, or a written response if it's a question. Or I might do another video to answer your question. I need ideas to what to sort of vlog about and all of that lot. I am on Instagram and TikTok and all that lot. You can just search for me, Puddy Tapper. I use the same name everywhere. And yeah, I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.